Good morning, all of you. Good morning, Susmita. Good morning, Sikha. Happy Bahuda Jatra. Akshay, Pranam. I hope audio and video दुटी जगह ठीक से काम करूँ. So we will start. Today is 5th July, and we will discuss national and international current affairs along with Odisha related current affairs as well. Okay, so let's start. ठीक अच्छी चलो ठीक है शेयर कर दियंतु सेशन को न्यूज को देखिबा जी ओडिशा बेंगल रिलेशन विल स्टार्ट विथ दिस इंटरस्टेट रिलेशन हमरो सिलेबस रे भी अछि इंटरस्टेट रिलेशन प्लस रीजनलिज्म ओके दुईटी टॉपिक रिलेटेड ये टॉपिक टी निपा वायरस WTO वर्ल्ड ट्रेड ऑर्गेनाइजेशन collegiate system, Indian judiciary, Indian diaspora, and GST, goods and services tax. Okay, चलो start करियो. First होची Odisha Bengal relation help stop harassment of migrant workers. Bengal CS to Odisha counterpart, that is Bengal Chief Secretary to Odisha counterpart. West Bengal Chief Secretary Manoj Pant has written to Odisha's counterpart or Odisha's Chief Secretary, urging a stop to the harassment of Bengali-speaking workers in districts like Paradip, Cuttack, Jagatsinghpur, Kendrapada, Bhadrak, Balasur, Malkanagiri and Cuttack. Okay, kahinki harassment hoji? The reason hoji, semanku any such Bengali people are there, semanku Bangladeshis ro tag miluji. यानी कि बांग्लादेश कहीकि आमे तांको हरास करबाकू चेष्टा करूचे. ओके, रिक्शा पुलर हुंतु, डोमेस्टिक हेल्प हुंतु, laborers have reportedly been detained without proper legal process despite carrying valid identity documents and in many cases branded as the Bangladeshis. Okay, एमती तो बांग्लादेशी प्लस ओडिशा एंड बेंगल भितरे भी जगन्नाथ धाम को नहीं कि भी चलची आलू सप्लाई को नहीं कि चलीची. सो देयर आर मल्टीपल रीजंस जो पाएंगे जिनसे हमको देखिबा को मिलु. एनीवे कंसर्न देखिबा एक तो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल राइट्स रिस्ट्रिक्टिंग मूवमेंट आर्बिटरी डिटेंशन प्रिज्यूमिंग सिटीजनशिप गिल्ट violates article 14 that is equality and 21 that is the personal liberty. ओके तेणु जो सिटीजन मानू आपण आर्बिटरली डिटेन करि परिबे नाही. नंबर 1 मूवमेंट को रिस्ट्रिक्शन करि परिबे नाही, यानी कि विद इन अ कंट्री दे कैन मूव एनीवेयर दे वांट एक्सेप्ट द एक्सेप्शंस एंड एक्सेप्शंस आर जोटी कि सपोज लीगल रिस्ट्रिक्शंस रहला ड्यू टू सर्टेन रीजन और नॉर्थ ईस्टर्न रीजन जो आपनकर इनर लाइन परमिट अछि दैट इज वन सच रिस्ट्रिक्शन. अदरवाइज मूवमेंट ऊपर आपण रिस्ट्रिक्शन लगे परिबे नाही प्लस लिबर्टी. Federal relation, West Bengal's Chief Secretary officially raised the issue, a rare interstate administrative tussle invoking constitutional redress mechanism. So, it's a state versus state. Okay? State versus state. जेमते हमें boundary issues देखिचु, हमें river dispute issues भी देखिचु. So, this is a kind of state versus state issue. Social cohesion, targeting based on language risk, regional discrimination, and undermines national unity and integrity also. So it undermines national unity and integrity also. Okay, on the basis of language or discriminating on the basis of language, since they are speaking Bengali, so we are branding them as Bangladeshis. Governance failure indicates weak accountability in district administration and flawed ID verification procedures. Okay, indicates weak accountability in district administration and flawed ID verification procedure. Now, एटी क्वेश्चन दुईटी अछि जेमति आपण कहली इंटरस्टेट रिलेशन को नहीं कि अछि. नंबर 1, नंबर 2 रीजनलिज्म. सो आई एम फोकसिंग मोर ऑन द रीजनलिज्म एस्पेक्ट. ओके, रीजनलिज्म इज द आइडियोलॉजी वेयर पीपल प्रायोरिटाइज रीजनल आइडेंटिटी, कल्चर, लैंग्वेज और पॉलिटिकल एस्पिरेशंस ओवर नेशनल इंटरेस्ट. सो लेट मी रिपीट दिस. तो सिटीकर पीपल कहा को प्रायोरिटाइज करउंती, दे आर प्रायोरिटाइजिंग देयर आइडेंटिटी, their culture, their language, political aspirations over national interest. While a certain level of regional pride is natural, it's obvious in a federal structure, or it's obvious in this diverse culture or diversity. But still, we have to focus on the national interest as well. Otherwise, it becomes dangerous. Now, promotes secessionism or parochialism. Secessionism in the sense, जोटा में secede बोली कहूचे, secessionism यानी कि समाने definitely अलगा हबा पाइन चेष्टा करिवे. Okay, जो 1950s रे जो हमारा State Reorganization Act आसिला, what was the basis? Language. The basis was the language. So secessionism ra tendency start ho. Separate statehood ra tendency start ho. Leads to discrimination against outsiders and results in conflict with national institutions. So federal structure, it's a threat to this federal structure. It's a threat to the national integrity and unity. It's a threat to the जो हमें कहूचे cooperative federalism, state union and state between the states. Clear? Now, जदि हमें types of regionalism देखिबा केते type ର regionalism अछि गोटे होची आपनकर demand for statehood. Demand for statehood either on the basis of language हमें देखुचे or in the basis of lack of development. दुईटी basis रे generally separation of statehood ର demand आसे. But as far as regionalism is concerned, this demand for statehood on the basis of what? Mostly the cultural identity, the language identity. In fact, आपण the Western Odisha को देखिबे, they demanding a separate statehood, that is a coastal state, co basis रे language को नेकी भी कहूचंदी plus cultural identity, because they are saying Eastern culture is something different from the Western culture. Okay, so example Telangana carved out of Andhra Pradesh with respect to the cultural identification, because Telangana and Andhra, they both speak Telugu language, but the difference is the cultural difference. Gorkhaland in West Bengal, this is one such coastal apana example dei paribe with respect to the Odisha. Demand for autonomy, Article 370 for Jammu and Kashmir now revoked. Sixth schedule in northeastern region. अपना देखिए लद्दाख रे भी समाने चाहूँचंदी want to implement this sixth schedule लद्दाख division को भी लद्दाख region को भी. Secessionist movement, for example Khalistani movement, ये होची same जिनसो, they want to have a separate state or nation on the I mean with its name of Khalistan. जेमती हिंदुस्तान पाकिस्तान सेमती समाने चाहूँचंदी we must have a separate nation, that is the Khalistan. Okay, Ulfa is separate, they also demanding a separate region. Interstate dispute, that is Kaveri water dispute between the Karnataka, Tamil Nadu. Boundary issues between the Maharashtra and Karnataka. Boundary issues is having with Odisha as well. Odisha, Bengal, although boundary issue we have been resolved, but river state dispute upon Karachi, interstate river dispute between the Bengal and Odisha. Odisha and Andhra Kuneki river dispute अछि. Odisha Chhattisgarh को लेके river dispute अछि. Son of the soil theory or the son of the soil movement. Example कौन? ना जो शिवसेना's opposition, शिवसेना जो अपन का महाराष्ट्र रे, they are simply opposing North Indians in the Maharashtra, especially the Bihar and UP people. Okay, so similar tendency kind of अपन एठी भी देखी परिबे when we are branding these Bengali people or West Bengal people as Bangladeshis and we are detaining them, तो ये son of the soil concept ही को emerge करोज. Okay, so it's a regionalism concept. How regionalism threatens national integration? Question अपन करो mains रे भी आसी पर regionalism अपन करो अच्छी GS paper 1 रे. So political dimension, if you see, rise of regional parties often prioritizing regional issues over the national stability. Okay, this is political dimension. It threatens the national integration because they do provide importance to the regional issues. Social, that is social harmony will be disturbed. Violence, discrimination, exclusion of the migrants and minority groups. Economic, unequal regional development sparking resentment and competition. So those area, जमती आपने देखी बे, जमती श्रीलंका भी आपने देखो ना श्रीलंका. Sri got time a civil war hitler. Sinhalese and Tamilian. And Sinhalese mane apno dekhibe, they are the dominated city, majoritarian you can say. Tamilian are the minority wala. And Tamilian has this affiliation with this or ethnic similarity with the Tamil people in India. So सेठी तमिलियन मानक डेवलपमेंट नहीं, तमिलियन मानक सप्रेस करागला, तमिलियन मानक इग्नोर करागला, तो ये भी काइंड ऑफ रीजनलिज्म। ओके, तेणु से टाइप रो इंडिया रे भी आपण जदि देखिबे सेमती सेशनिस्ट इंसर्जेंट मूवमेंट गुडी को डेफिनेटली आसे, जेमती खालिस्तानी हो, ओके, खालिस्तानी जेमती आसला, जेमती ट्राइबल मानक सप्रेस करागला, ओके, डेवलपमेंट ना रे एक्सप्लॉइट करागला, दिस टेंडेंसीज। Cultural assertion of linguistic cultural identity over Indian identity, that is anti-Hindi agitation. जेमती वर्तमान को आजोची Hindi has been imposed on those southern states. Okay, Hindi people जेमती language को नहीं कि you might have seen in the Karnataka or Maharashtra रे कि first you have to mention in the Kannada, then you have to write in English, and then you can write in Hindi. So similar kind of tendencies ଆପଣଙ୍କର କୋଉଠି ନା ରିଜନାଲିଜମ୍ डेफिनेटली विल थ्रेट टू द national integration, political, social, economic, national security, as well as the cultural threat. Okay, way forward देखिबा first inclusive development, जेमती government has launched the aspirational district program जो backward districts मानकरे model developmental approach सरकार रखुछन्ती, balanced regional economic growth, cultural integration, promote shared festivals, language or intermingling of the culture. Okay, strengthening federalism through cooperative federalism, that is interstate, center and state, and we have different institutions, for example interstate council, for example Niti Aayog, let's say, where states have been given chance to speak or to keep their voice, opinion. तो ये जो टाइप रो हमारा स्ट्रक्चर गुडी को अछि ना, we need to I mean तको हमें actively seମାନଙ୍କୁ involve କରିବାକୁ पड़ियो, we need to actively engage these institutions to resolve such issues. Responsive governance, address regional grievances via consultation and participatory planning. National education and media promote unity narratives while respecting diversity. So ultimately we have to respect our diversity but promote the unity as well and national integrity as well. Okay, so this is way forward. Moving to the next, Nipah virus resurfaces in Kerala, 2 cases reported. Kerala has confirmed 2 new Nipah virus cases, one in Palakkad and another in Malappuram. As a result, health authorities have issued alert in 3 northern districts of Kerala, Kozhikode, Malappuram and Palakkad. The virus typically spread by the fruit bat, badudi jota mein kuch, can also transmit between humans, human to human, ଆପଣଙ୍କର ट्रांसमिशन ହେଇ ପାରେ, that is the reason they have wear the protective gears. Okay, जोटा कोविड टाइम रे पिंधिकी सेमाने करथले, तो the reason होची से initial symptoms include fever, headache, vomiting, sometimes progressing to encephalitis, जोटा ଆପଣଙ୍କର ब्रेन को इन्फ्लेमेशन करे दिए, coma or even death. Okay, तो निपा वायरस was the first identified in 1998-99 during an outbreak in Malaysia and Singapore. निपा वायरस प्रथम थर केबे देखाइतला 1998-99 रे during an outbreak in Malaysia and Singapore रे. Origin of निपा वायरस जदि आपण देखिबे, जेमती एबे कहिले म आपनको मलेशिया 98-99 रे, transmission route fruit bat, natural reservoir, then pigs and then the humans. Okay, zoonotic kahin kuha jaye, from animal to the human being, that is the reason it is zoonotic. Primary reservoir, fruit bats of the Petorpus genus, also called the flying foxes. Okay, primary reservoir. Initial spread, farmers and pig handlers, okay, got infected by a close contact with the sick pig. Okay, pig आमे जेमती गोटेरी करूचे सेमती pig भी करा जाउचे कि pig farming, तो pig पोर्क जोटा कंज्यूम करूचन लोक माने, तो से pig farming रो ही से farmers मानन को स्प्रेड करछ and then starts transmitting from one person to another. Okay, other spread जदि आपण देखिबे, बांग्लादेश रे हितला 2001 frequent outbreaks, high fatality often linked to the raw date palm sap. India, West Bengal 2001-7, India, Kerala 18, 19, 21, 23, 24, 25, not linked to pigs, direct back to human or human to human contact. ये अपन को केरला रे अपन को देखिबा को मिलुची इंडिया रे. ओके, जदि ट्रांसमिशन रूट्स देखिबे, एनिमल टू ह्यूमन by infected pigs or food bat, human to human by respiratory droplets body fluids exactly ଯେମିତି କୋଭିଡ ରେ ହଉଥିଲା sneezing या coughing ଫଳରେ जो droplets गुड़िक जाए foodborne consumption of raw date palm sap contaminated by bats जो हमें खजुरी खाऊचे raw date सेटा को bat भी कंज्यूम करिथान सो bat रो से खजुरी को आसे खजुरी रो से वायरस आसे ह्यूमन बॉडी को सो दिस इज foodborne common in Bangladesh and India outbreaks ओके तेणु बेले बेले क्वेश्चंस प्रिलिम्स रिलेटेड आसी पारे ट्रांसमिशन को नहीं कि नंबर 1 नंबर 2 ओरिजिन को नहीं कि भी आसी पारे इंडिया रे केबे देखिबा को मिलथिला फर्स्ट टाइम ये भी क्वेश्चंस आसी पारे तो ई टाइप रो मन रखिबा आपण 2001 ए सब जिंस नेक्स्ट देखिबा WTO इंडिया टेल्स WTO इट मे लेवी retaliatory tariff worth of $724 million on US import देखिबा कोन India has formally informed the WTO that it may impose retaliatory tariff worth of $724 to $725 million on US import. This response is under the Safeguards Agreement under Article 12.5 targeting US new 25% tariff on Indian automobiles and parts affecting approximately 2.89 billion of Indian export. 9th July, this date has been fixed, right? With respect to the India-US trade deal. India has given this warning, we cannot go by this deadline. Obviously, since negotiation is going on, you cannot put certain a date कि भाई ये date before this date you have to like finalize. That is not possible because it's something negotiation is going on between the India and US by protecting national interest. Upon in the compromise, you cannot compromise the national interest, right? And 9th July, the trade deal finalized now, then US has given this threat of what? Like imposing this tariff of 25% on this automobile segment. Anyway, so what exactly India is doing, let's see. It is a legal countermeasure under WTO rules. So India भी already कह दीजिए यदि US retaliatory या tariff impose करे, obviously India भी retaliatory tariff या जहाँ का मैं कहूँचे retaliatory या counter tariff हमें भी impose करियो. WTO rules allowing India to suspend concessions, that is raise tariffs to offset harm caused by the US action. Okay, so it is a legal countermeasure under WTO rules allowing India to suspend concession. Suspend concession जो privilege US को मिलुथला से privilege आउ दिया जीवो नहीं. We will start imposing tariff on the US export to India. A parallel move was made earlier against US steel and aluminium tariffs, though India did not follow through tariff imposition at that time. Okay, India did not follow through tariff imposition at that time. Aguru jadiyo heichi, but India did not, impose any tariff and all. This signals a toughened stance amid ongoing India-US trade negotiation aiming mini deal by July 9. But India koi diji, we cannot go by this deadline because we need to protect our own interest. We need to protect our own industry. By keeping this in mind, we will have a trade deal between India and the US. So, 9th July re nahi par it may extend, but you can't impose tariff unilaterally. Definitely, we will also retaliate. This is what India has given the answer to, or in this WTO forum. Strategic and economic implications kaun koibe. Negotiating leverage. India aims to pressure US to ease its tariffs while carefully balancing the trade-off to secure concession in other sectors. Obviously, you must have a negotiation. Okay, let's go for another level of negotiation and all, and let's make this deal which protects both the countries' interest. एमती नो कि एमती कहते ना कि zero sum game international relation रे गोटे थाए ना zero sum game. So it's not be zero sum game कि जने जितिबा और जने हारिबो. One's interest will be compromised and one will win. Rather, we will have a win-win situation. Okay, win-win situation. Trade tensions escalate. The move raises stakes, increasing the risk of tit-for-tat tariffs amid competitive protectionism. Domestic impact, tariffs on US import could affect local industries relying on American goods, machinery and components. Okay, so जो retaliatory tariff को हमें कौन कहबा tit for tat भाई तमे जमती करिवो हमें भी सेंड करिवो, but we are not going anywhere by this tit for tat or retaliatory counter retaliatory measures. Better we need to have what a kind of negotiation. तो domestic impact कौन ही पारे जदि हमें high amount of imposition tariff करूचे US product upare obviously amaro market access seman ko milibha nahi. I mean same thing US will do, semane amo product upare impose karibe tariff, so obviously we can't have the market access. Okay, key facts gudiko dekhiba related to WTO. Okay, founded in 1st January 1995, WTO 1st January 1995, headquarter Geneva, Switzerland. Member जदि आपण देखिबे 164 member countries. India is a founding member. बर्तमान डायरेक्टर जनरल डॉक्टर नोग्जी ओकुंज एयोला या आयुएला you can say. Language English, French and Spanish. Functions of WTO कौन? First, this is the only organization, let me tell you, जे trade related dispute, trade related deals को handle करे. This is the only organization, because other than that there is no such other organization. So administers WTO trade agreements. Okay, यानी जते agreements को तो administer करे, यानी कि WTO रो main idea जदि आपण देखिबे तार होची free and fair trade, protecting the national interest. इटा होची से promote करे WTO. WTO 90s रे कोन पई आसिला? WTO's 90s रे आसीबार purpose थिला कोन? Now when this capitalism started spreading all over the country, yeah, all over the world you can say, capitalism started spreading all over the world. Basically the capitalist country led by the US semane चाहुंतिले to promote free trade, or they wanted to get market access of every developing and underdeveloped countries. That is the reason they wanted to promote free trade, कि केही restrictions या tariff impose करी परिबे नहीं. We get the market access because we have already developed countries, we have well developed industries, so we need market access. Exactly जो जिनसे आपनकर ब्रिटेन करिथिला during the colonial era, these capitalist countries wanted 90s रे, that is economic imperialism jaha ko ame koche. Economic imperialism means to get the market access by removing any such restrictions, ebang seithe pai they came with a formal set of formal organization called as WTO. Okay, act as a forum for the trade negotiation, and whenever there is a kind of trade I mean any such dispute, and mostly WTO is the forum where these dispute measures are reached. यदि developing countries or developed countries हो, या suppose Indo-US रा जो problem हो, definitely whenever there is a trade summit, so सेठी ही India will raise, obviously US will raise this issue against India as well. Handles trade disputes through dispute settlement body, monitors national trade policies, तो कि को country को भली भावरे trade policies को promote करूची, ताको monitor करिबा, provides technical assistance and training for the developing countries, cooperates with other international organizations like World Bank, IMF, etc. Okay, cooperates with other organizations, that is World Bank, IMF, etc. जो international financial institutions गुड़िक अछि, they also cooperate with those organizations. Okay. Next देखिबा collegium system. CGI assures complete transparency in the collegium system for appointments. Okay, collegium system kahar appointment करे, appoints high court judges and supreme court judges. Okay, the Chief Justice of India has recently assured complete transparency in the collegium system for the appointment of the judges to the higher judiciary. यदि आपण देखिबे लोअर कोर्ट गुड़िक अच्छे, डिस्ट्रिक्ट कोर्ट हो, ये सब जो कोर्ट गुड़िक अच्छी, सेशन कोर्ट हो, जनरली जो स्टेट रो जुडिशियल एग्जाम थ्रू रे जो माने क्वालिफाई करिक आसंदी, दे आर जनरली गिवन द अपॉइंटमेंट, बट हाई कोर्ट एंड सुप्रीम कोर्ट दिस कॉलेजियम सिस्टम ताकू ही अपॉइंट करे या जजेस मन को अपॉइंट करे. This assurance comes amid ongoing debates and criticisms regarding the opaque nature of the process and calls for greater accountability. Opaque nature of the process and greater accountability. Opaque nature of the process means there is no or lack of transparency. Simple reason is, on what ground one person is being chosen as the judge of the High Court or a judge of the Supreme Court. There is no such ground. The only eligibility criteria is there, that minimum 10 years of advocates thibe, legal practitioner thibe, and must be a jurist mane on the eyes of, let's say, president, citizen of India. I mean, these 2 to 3 criteria are there. But what are the other grounds ki kahaku? And if you see, those judges are in their 40s, let's say, they must have done the 15 years of practice in different high courts or let's say so in Supreme Court. But on what ground these 5 people are getting this appointment regarding the judges of the High Court, judges of the Supreme Court? There is no such criteria. So that is the reason we generally consider it as an opaque system, and the process and calls for greater accountability. Let's see. What is this collegium system? The collegium system is a mechanism evolved through judicial pronouncement. Acha. Collegium system who has been given this responsibility with respect to appointment. Okay. Constitutional mandate achiki. Has it been mentioned in the constitution? Answer is no. So it's only a judicial evolution, you can say, judicial development and judicial pronouncement, not a law or constitutional provision for the appointment and transfer of the judges to the Supreme Court and High Court. Okay, appointment or transfer painu hai, appointment and transfer related collegium system, but constitution re you won't find mentioning this term collegium system. So composition dekhiba collegium system ro Supreme Court collegium CJI plus 4 senior most Supreme Court judges. High Court collegium Chief Justice of High Court plus 2 senior most High Court judges. Okay. Concern raised against the collegium system kahingi criticize kara jauchi or kahingi concern dekhibaku miluchi. Why I mean CJI has to say full transparency will be maintained. Kahingi ya complete transparency will be maintained. First, lack of transparency, as I just mentioned, there is no such criteria on what grounds a particular person would be considered as High Court judge or Supreme Court judge. No formal criteria for the selection or rejection. Opaque consultation and decision. Jemti kuagala kono na eti jo Chief Justice of High Court je achandi se duiti judges ko consult karibe. Okay, senior most judges of the High Court. To ye consultation re voice of dissent thila ki, voice of opposition thila ki, actually consult kara jaichi na nahi, is there any record? To seithipai kuhajauchi consultation or decision ku neke konosi system nahi. It's completely packed, closed system. No accountability to any external body like parliament, and allegations of nepotism and favoritism. Kahingi kuhajauchi na jota ka ame koche judicial dynasty. જેમથી અમે કહું છે ડાયનેસ્ટિક પોલિટિક્સ ફાધર સન ડુઓ પાર્ટીରେ ଅଛନ୍ତି ସେ ପ୍ରେସିଡେଣ୍ଟ ସିଏ ହିଁ ସେକ୍ରେଟାରୀ ସିଏ ହିଁ ଏମଏଲଏ ସିଏ ହିଁ ଏମପି ତ ଏଇ ଯୋଉ ପରିବାରବାଦ ଯୋଉଟା ଆମେ କହୁଛେ what we call it dynastic politics, the same you can see in the judicial system as well. Father judge ଥିଲେ ପୁଅ ବି judge, okay, ତାଙ୍କ ପୁଅ ବି judge. I mean, in fact you will find 3 generations judges, chief justice ये सब भी हो जाती. So ସେଥିପାଇଁ କୁହାଯାଉଛି nepotism and favoritism. Okay. Significance कौन देखिबा? Publishing collegium resolution. In recent years, the Supreme Court has begun uploading collegium recommendation online, including reasons for appointments and rejection. So now things are bit of better. कौन पाई ना complete transparency जो कुहाଯାଉଛି ये recent initiative गुड़िको जो निया जाइछि से गुड़िको कौन देखंतु initiative गुड़िको publishing collegium resolutions. On what ground one person has been rejected or appointed, that has been published in the online website. Public disclosure of dissenting opinions. Increasing willingness to make internal disagreement public. Just I mentioned कि को judges टी disagreement दिखेला, resentment दिखेला, oppose कला किछि हम पाखे record न था. Now they are trying to make it public. Institutional reform, possibly consider additional procedural clarity and stakeholder feedback mechanism. Okay, any such official methodology to register the opposition resentment or voice of dissent is so be what institutional reform is required. Engagement with the executive, signaling an intent to reduce confrontation over judicial appointment. So confrontation with the judicial appointment, many a times what generally happens, एमाने ताको recommend करंती and finally ताको executive या executive माने president को appoint करवा को पड़े. That means there is no such generally we have not seen opposition from the executive side कि नहीं ये person को दिया जीवो नहीं. So signaling an intent to reduce confrontation over judicial appointment तेणु सेमाने चाहूँचंदी कि आमे executive को भी involve करिवु. So in future there must not be any confrontation between these two parties, executive and the judiciary. So stakeholders must be consulted before appointment. अच्छा, to make the process transparent actually जदि आपण देखिबे NJAC गोटे आसीथिला हमर 2014 रे, यानी कि 2014 पार्लियामेंट इंट्रोड्यूस्ड वन इंस्टीट्यूशन that is National Judicial Appointment Commission. This act was passed in 2014 to replace the collegium system with a more transparent body. Okay, with a more transparent body. But result कौन है देखो. In 2015, the Supreme Court struck it down as unconstitutional with this verdict of 4:1, citing violation of judicial independence. Because NJAC mane here executive will be involved, so they simply struck down because executive's involvement means judiciary has lost its independence. तमाने हमें dependency का ऊपर ही जीवा executive to. सेति पाई National Judicial Appointment Commission Act 2014 को समाने reject कले in 2015 रे. Supreme Court Collegium's recommendation अभी recently जब देखिए 39 judges in July 2025 जदि हमें problem किसी देखिए Supreme Court तबे vacancy snapshot as of 1st July 2025 sanction strength total judges in the country 1122, working strength is 751, vacancies 371 judges, approximately 33% vacancy rate in among the judges. So this is one part as well कि collegium system is not able to provide appointment as well, or not able to like fill the vacancy as well. Huge amount of vacancies is there. Article 224A, ad hoc judges. In January 2025, a special bench of the Supreme Court allowed high courts to appoint retired judges as ad hoc judges under Article 224A. Why? Because of this vacancy. At least जो case backlog गुड़िको अछि that has been cleared or that will be cleared using experienced judicial manpower temporarily. Next देखिबा Indian diaspora. PM Modi hails 35 million diaspora as India's pride. During his visit to Trinidad and Tobago, PM Modi addressed Indian diaspora in Port of Spain. He highlighted the emotional and cultural ties between India and the Girmitia community. Emotional and cultural ties between India and the Girmitia community. 35 million strong Indian diaspora acknowledged as India's pride and ambassador of Indian culture. That means they are spreading the Indian culture across the globe. Sixth generation persons of Indian origin in Trinidad and Tobago will be eligible for the OCI, Overseas Citizen of India card soon. And those people will get certain facilities under the Overseas Citizens of India, emphasizing cultural diplomacy, people-to-people ties as key foreign policy tools, or what we call the, you would say, soft power. This diaspora is known as the soft power because they are spreading the Indian culture across the globe. And ये जो टोबागो त्रिनिदाद आपण देखुचंदी 35 मिलियन स्ट्रॉंग जो अफ्रीकन डायस्पोरा आपण देखुचंदी ता रीजन होची से माने कॉलोनियल टाइम रे, ओके, कॉलोनियल टाइम रे से माने माइग्रेट करथिले फ्रॉम इंडिया टू दैट अफ्रीकन रीजन. हु आर गिरमितिया देखंतु डिसेंडेंट्स ऑफ इंडियन इंडेंचर्ड लेबरर्स हु वर सेंट टू ब्रिटिश कॉलोनीज. तेणु ये जो इंडियन लेबरर्स मान को एठू नहीं कि ब्रिटिश कॉलोनीज को पठा जाइतला लाइक त्रिनिदाद, फिजी, मॉरिशस इन द 9th century अंडर द गिरमित एग्रीमेंट सिस्टम से गिरमितिया बोली कहा जाए गिरमित एग्रीमेंट ओके Now a vibrant and influential part of local society, many still maintain cultural practices, language that is Bhojpuri Hindi and festivals. They do practice many cultures, cultural practices, languages, etc. Okay. So it's Girmit agreement. Just remember Girmit agreement. So that is the reason they are known as the Girmitia. Significance of diaspora engagement. Diaspora act as a soft power to कहली सॉफ्ट पावर हार्ड पावर जो आम था हार्ड पावर हूँ मिलिटरी इकोनॉमिक स्ट्रेंथ सॉफ्ट पावर हूँ कल्चर ओके जमी योगा डे वी डू सेलिब्रेट ऑन 21st June ऑल ओवर द वर्ल्ड एंड दिस योगा डे वाज प्रपोज्ड बाय द इंडिया इन 2014 तेणु दैट शोज द सॉफ्ट पावर द कल्चरल डिप्लोमेसी important for bilateral relation remittances investment and cultural export bilateral relation between India and those countries remittances those diaspora people they are sending money back to their families in India so it's a kind of earning for with respect to the foreign exchange reserve investment they are sending money if you see the China case also China रो जो Chinese diaspora across the globe, they have a lot of amount of investment in the China. India is also trying to do the same model. जो माने Indian diaspora जो माने different countries are staying or they have business units, they are have good economic position. India is trying to mobilize those kind of investment in India. So this is one agenda of India. So the move aligns with India's Act East and Act West outreach to both Pacific and Caribbean Indian communities. Pacific and Caribbean Indian communities, eastern part of the world and western part of the world. And also, आमे जो मोदी जो ये जो 5टी देश रो विजिट करूछंदी सो आमे देखिचे कोन जो ब्रिक्स समिट भी अछि आमे देखिचे कोन ना साउथ साउथ कोऑपरेशन को फोकस करा जाउछि and India could be leader of that southern region. GST देखिबा background goods and services tax launched in 2017 was meant to be unified efficient and broad based indirect tax system yet GST collections have remained volatile and dependence on cesses has increased undermining its original promise. GST रो जो targeted collection रहिबा कथा से collection हो नाही and GST was with the idea or objective to rational the tax system, minimize the tax burden on the people, increase the tax base, that means increase the tax collection by rationalizing the taxes. But actually if you see, low GST collection speak to the need for structural reform. ये जो टॉपिक एडिटोरियल टी आज थिला हिंदू रे सीज द सेस काहेकि ना जेहेतु सरकार को देखा जाउची कि जीएसटी इज नॉट फुलफिलिंग इट्स टारगेट सरकार एडिशनल सेस इंपोज करूछन व्हाट इज दिस सेस सरकार इज सिंपली ट्राइंग टू गेट मनी थ्रू ए सर्टेन रूट एवं सेटा होची सेस होची I mean apart from the tax a certain amount of a certain percentage would be imposed for a specific purpose. For example, Swachh Bharat says, environmental says, education says, health says, let's say agriculture says. This special type of says means the money which will be collected under that will be used for that purpose. Okay, suppose agriculture pai cess re collect karagala, that money will be used for the irrigation, that money will be used for the development of infrastructure in the rural areas, agricultural market, etc., etc. Swachh Bharat cess, that means will be used for the sanitation and Swachh Bharat work. So what government is doing, or basically the central government, because the cess has been imposed by the central government and clearly the cess amount is going to the central government, no role of state. Okay, so increased undermining its original promise. Original promise में जमते कहली rationalization and lesser burden. Frequent use of cesses, levies like compensation cess and luxury goods, tobacco, etc. bypass the GST Council's revenue sharing mechanism. That means सीधा से कहाँ को जाऊँगी, center को जाऊँगी. Okay. Bypassing the revenue sharing mechanism, state रो सेठी कोनो सी role नहीं, entirely going to the center, creating resentment among the states. Low revenue buoyancy. GST share in GDP and as proportion of the total tax revenue remains lower than the expected. The reason kono? Na growing tax base evasion. Jehetu 18%, 32% higher amount of GST collection ruji, that means people are trying to manipulate and trying to avoid payment of taxes. As a result, tax base evasion or the lower tax collection. Input credit fraud. Input credit जो GST रा input credit system कौन होची? Now once you have given the GST or tax with respect to input, तारा output रे अपन को पूरी तरह tax दबा को पड़ी बना. If you have paid the tax, then input रे देई थिबा tax को अपन फेरी पाएबे. That means input credit. So they are simply what doing? They are manipulating so that more amount of credit they will get. And classification of the disputes. Dispute भी धीरे धीरे बड़ी बड़ी अपन को चली. Complex structure देखिए multiple slabs 5%, 12, 18, 28 create confusion and compliance burden. Sector specific exemptions like petroleum, alcohol, real estate fragment the tax base as well. तो इस सब केस रे तामे VAT use करू चाहिए यानी कि state government रो control रे आसुची that they do not come under the GST. So need for structural reform. First which is simplification. Move toward the fewer slabs, perhaps 3-rate model. One is merit, standard and luxury. Merit means those essential items etc. Standard slightly different products apart from the essentials, and the luxury is something different. Gold, jewelry, rationalize exemptions to widen the base. Exemptions को rationalize करेगा, widen the base so that more number of products would come under the GST, more number of collection as well. Phase out cesses, return to the principle of cooperative federalism, because cesses undermines the cooperative federalism. Without the ambit of GST, central government is imposing cess to collect the additional revenue. Use finance commission routes for compensating states raw. Compensation due jati ke oche taku nihati dawa darkar. We need to use the recommendation of the finance commission. Include petroleum, real estate, alcohol, so that we will have an uniform rate across the state, plus price can come down by imposing the GST. Strengthening GST network and compliance, AI based audit, real time invoicing, data triangulation to detect evasion, and streamline the input tax credit norms to minimize the dispute जोटा कि वर्तमान हमको देखिबा को मिलुची. Fine. Odisha related news देखिबा. IG drones gets patent for India's first indigenous defense drone simulator. First ever patent in India for a combat grade drone simulator has been awarded to Odisha-based startup IG Drones. Okay. The simulator was initially unveiled Defense Expo 2022 in the presence of Prime Minister, underlining its national security relevance. Okay, AI-driven, high-fidelity virtual terrain, enabling realistic training for the Army, Navy, Air Force, CAPF in GPS, denied or multi-drone scenarios. Support VTOL, FBB, kamikaze drones, cutting operational risk and cost. Basically, this IG drones will be used for the defense purposes, and it's the Odisha startup that is IG drone. जी के उटे drone तैयारी करी. So Atmanirbhar Bharat, Viksit Bharat of 27, it will align with this. Foreign monopoly of the drone, indigenous drone को use करी परिवा, which could be used Operation Sindoor like disaster or situations. Okay, the innovation is expected to reduce training cost by 60% and cut accident rates in live drone sorties. Odisha issued bid to impanel solar module manufacturer. Oreda floated a tender of 13 June 2025 to impanel vendors of 10 megawatt rooftop PV across Odisha. जो अपन का rooftop solar PV model जोड़ा ची. Minimum 14% CUF for 5 years. 3 lakh bid security and 1000 processing fee are mandated. Make in India modules prioritizing ALMM listed, that is approved list for models and manufacturing panel. So solar module को हमें कौन करूचे promote करने को चेष्टा करूचे, right? And under this PM Kusum होचे अपन करो जोड़ा मन थी आपंकर सोलर पंप यूज करा जीवो सरप्लस सोलर पंप जो सरप्लस एनर्जी को आम ग्रिड को सप्लाई करवा ओके Odisha government's climate MOU on weather data accessibility 2025 between agriculture and जो farmers welfare department and SkyMind weather services implements winds weather information network data system project statewide to install AWS that is weather services at the block level and every gram panchayat ensuring granular data okay तमने प्रति ग्राम पंचायत रु वेदर डेटा को आई मीन रियल टाइम रे प्रोवाइड करा जिवो सो दैट एग्रीकल्चर को हेल्प मिलिबो सेटा दैट मींस जोटा के हम कहूचे क्लाइमेट स्मार्ट एग्रीकल्चर as per the agriculture as per the environment as per the weather conditions farmer can take action okay data will integrate with the Odisha State Disaster Management Authority जदि किसी साइक्लोन आसीबार अछि या any such low pressure condition then it will be telecasted Odisha surpasses Kerala, 5th rank in School Education Index. PGI 2.0 report 23-24 places Odisha 5th score 595.6 up from 14th in 2019. Earned Prachestha 3 grade indicating high performance in outcome and governance cluster. Odisha leapfrog traditional topper Kerala for the first time and key gains infrastructure facilities plus 20%, equity plus 10% domain. डिजिटल इनिशिएटिव जदि आपण देखिबे मधु ऐप एंड स्मार्ट क्लासरूम प्लस स्कूल एंड मास एजुकेशन एज पर द 27,324 crore एंड यूएन एसडीजी 4 गोल आमे करूचे समग्र शिक्षा फंड अनुसार सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट गोल 4 अर्बन डिजाइन हब टू स्टीयर ग्रोथ इन 11 मेजर सिटीज सो ओडिशा इज डेवलपिंग ओडिशा अर्बन डिजाइन हब जोटा कि 11 मेजर सिटीज को ओवरऑल फैसिलिटीज प्रोवाइड करि परिबो ऑन द लाइन ऑफ जेमते हमें स्मार्ट सिटीज को सो 11 मेजर सिटीज को फोकस करा जाउची ओवरऑल डेवलपमेंट पाई अंडर दिस ओडिशा अर्बन डिजाइन हब एनालिटिक्स म्युनिसिपल फाइनेंस कम्युनिटी एंगेजमेंट आर द पार्ट ऑफ दिस मॉडल एंड ग्लोबल अर्बन डिजाइन स्टूडियोज पीपीपी मॉडल को मध्ये प्रमोट करा जिवो एंड लिंक टू द विजन ऑफ 2047 ऑफ इंडिया and 2036 of Odisha जोटा कि 47 ने India will be developed 36 रे Odisha will be developed CM inaugurates Sabari Sanskriti Bhavan IHC Village Bhubaneswar by CM Mohan Mazi 2 crore grant announced for the finishing and programming and tribal art language research of the Sabari Sanskrit Parishad जोटा कि tribal art language research गुडी को शोकेस करा जिवो ओके सो एटा जो ट्राइबल कल्चर को प्रमोट करिवो लाइवलीहुड फैसिलिटीज को प्रमोट मध्य करिवो ओडिशा पुलिस क्लिंच 4 गोल्ड मेडल एट वर्ल्ड पुलिस एंड फायर गेम बिर्मिंघम यूएस ओडिशा पुलिस एथलीट्स won 4 gold and 1 silver अशोक दंडसेना topped men's 800 meter and 1500 meter double gold मिलिची अशोक दंडसेना को सुस्मिता टीगा seized women's 1500 gold 800 meter silver and Karateka Bhagavan Reddy clinched under 64 kg gold, while Suman Sekhar Das under 84 kg. DGP YB Khurania lauded athletes, force plans, enhanced sports quota recruitment. Odisha Police Sports Policy 2023 provides 5 lakh incentive per international gold. Okay. Achievement boost states pitch to host National Police Game 2027. नेक्स्ट देखिए एमसीक्यूज सॉल्व करिवे एमसीक्यूज IG drones, it has been indigenously developed but requires imported flight physics engine completely indigenously developed. Okay. So answer आपनकर 1 and 3 अब B completely indigenously developed. Next देखिए limited to government owned rooftops only, obviously no. At least 5 years, 10% contract value. So answer would be 2 and 3. Odisha's 2025 rooftop solar empanelment bid. Next देखिए, it set up weather stations only at district headquarters. पंचायत लेवल रे भी हबो. फसल बीमा योजना इंश्योरेंस को एक्यूरेसी जो फसल रटन और क्रॉप लॉसेस हबो, and PPP model with the SkyMet 213. PGI 2.0 and Prachestha are awarded on the basis of learning outcome quality, infrastructure facilities, digital governance only जो अच्छी तो हटेवे. Answer होची 1 and 2. Which feature distinguishes the proposed urban design hub, okay, from earlier state planning bodies? Smart city plus mandated use of outcome-based PPP contracts for the design services. Mandated use of outcome-based PPP contracts. Savari Sanskrit Bhavan, primarily 6-2. Promote tribal culture through multi-purpose events. Which sports contributed to Odisha's police gold medal at WPFG 2025? Middle distance athletics and apangar karate. No shooting. So 1 and 3 answer. Okay, gold medal. बाकी ये जी अपन करो essay topic है जी mains रो essay regionalism in India, challenge or complement to national integration. Regionalism in India, challenge or complement to the national integration. तो रीजनलिज्म लिखिबे इंडिया रे केमती अछि एंड जीएस टाइप रो लिखिबे नाही टॉपिक टी जीएस रो बट लिखिबे एसे टाइप रो सेटा को मन रखिबे लिखिबा को पड़िबो एसे टाइप रो बट टॉपिक टी होजी जीएस रो ओके ठीक अछि आउ कार किछि क्वेरी अछि डाउट अछि एनीवे सो जो मैंने फाउंडेशन बैच रे जॉइन करबा को चाहूं चंदी आरंभ 5.0 फाउंडेशन बैच रे जॉइन करिवे प्रीलिम्स मेंस इंटरव्यू कंबाइंड प्रिपरेशन हबो एंड कोड यूज करिवे जे इन लाइव जो कि मैक्सिमम डिस्काउंट मिलेबो एटा होची इंग्लिश एंड हिंदी बैच लाइव क्लासेस नोट्स मेंटरशिप सपोर्ट एवरीथिंग विल बी देयर 12 प्लस टेस्ट सीरीज भी फ्री रे मिलुची ओके सस्मिता ओके तो इंग्लिश हिंदी प्री मेंस इंटरव्यू तो फाउंडेशन बैच एक्चुअली नेक्स्ट ईयर जुलाई रे से प्लान कर प्रीलिम्स रो तो सेटा को टिके नजर रखिबे कोड यूज करिवे जे इन लाइफ बाकी अपन को पीडीएफ एडी मिली जिवो टेलीग्राम रे फेसबुक एंड इंस्टा रे मते अपन फॉलो करि परिबे अपन को क्वेरी जहा भी डाउट थिबो मते पचारि परिबे एनी मोड रे अपन पचारि परिबे ओके थैंक यू वेरी मच we'll meet at 12 in 12 there is a session economics related around 100 questions hame discuss kariba okay 100 MCQs so be there at 12 just